unexpected cameos, and a major character transformation, the Savage She-Hulk was finally brought to life on screen. In the season finale of She-Hulk Attorney-at-Law, Tatiana Maslany's Jennifer Walters, also known as She-Hulk, faced several surprises. First off, her creepy one-time date Todd ended up being the Hulk King and the mastermind behind Intelligentsia, and he was able to cunningly get his hands on a sample of Walter's blood. We also discovered that Emil Blonsky, played by Tim Roth, is still turning into Abomination, telling Walters,
Yeah, I do speaking engagements. Nothing bad, strictly for profit.
And to top it all off, after being MIA for most of the season, Mark Ruffalo's Bruce Banner literally dropped in to save the day. But as this is She-Hulk show, Walter steps in and decides that this is not the finale she wants. After realizing the writers are not the ones in control, she fights her way to the knowledge-enhanced visual interconnectivity nexus to plead her case for the ending her character deserves. But before we get to the chaos of She-Hulk's last episode, we're treated to an entirely new retro opening credit scene. Complete with voiceover narration and late 70s, early 80s style graphics, it's reminiscent of the original The Incredible Hulk series opener. But unlike the cheerful, playful, and beautiful She-Hulk we're used to seeing, we get a much bigger, angrier, and more aggressive She-Hulk who looks an awful lot like she could be Lou Ferrigno's twin.
Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
As the opening finishes, the title card reads, The Savage She-Hulk. For those who don't know, the Savage She-Hulk moniker has a much longer and deeper history in the Marvel Comics world, beginning with the very first She-Hulk issue, and coming back to the forefront in the Avengers comic series that started in 2018. She-Hulk wasn't always the level-headed, intelligent Hulk that Tatiana Maslany portrays her to be in the MCU's She-Hulk Attorney-at-Law. When Stan Lee and John Buscema first introduced She-Hulk in 1980, it was as the Savage She-Hulk. In fact, Jen Walters' origin story was pretty different from the version introduced in the Disney Plus series. In the comics, Walter was shot by the henchman of a mobster she had a case against, and Bruce Banner, who had just come back into his cousin's life, performed an emergency blood transfusion to save her. While recovering in the hospital, Walter starts to notice that she feels different, but assumes it's a result of the medications the doctors and nurses gave her. But when the gunmen come to the hospital again to try and silence her, Jen's rage transforms her into what became known as the Savage She-Hulk. This title lasted for 25 issues, with the first mention coming from a nurse who unknowingly tells Walters that female Savage was just horrible. Fans of both Marvel Comics and the MCU know that Banner's Hulk has always been different. The Hulk genuinely has a separate personality from Banner, and is consumed with causing destruction and shares no consciousness with him, although Ruffalo's Professor Hulk appears to reconcile both. Despite the comic's title, Savage She-Hulk, Walters and her Hulk were always the same person, sharing the same consciousness. Even so, Walters still thinks of herself as more of a beast now, referring to herself as the Savage She-Hulk in Savage She-Hulk issue 2. During Jason Aaron's run writing the Avengers comics in 2018, he tried to make She-Hulk more like the Hulk, but it didn't go over so well with fans. In a particularly unfavorable Reddit thread about the comics, one user wrote, "Aaron derailed She-Hulk and keeps doubling and tripling down on it." Unsurprisingly, the character eventually reverted to the form fans seem to prefer in Avengers issue 50.